Okay, so this is your drawing. First thing I'm going to do is, right now that layer is locked. So with it being locked, it's kind of grayed out there. So I want to make it so it's a little bit more visible. So I'm going to unlock that layer. And let's go ahead and just look at this. I'm currently on the layout layer, and that's the way I'd start this drawing. I start it by doing your layout line and getting this 45-degree angle in here. So to do that, I'm going to put a line on this corner. I'm going to transfer it over here to this corner by tracking to there and straight down. So that has the bottom of my top view and the left side of my right view to this corner. That is the position where you put in that 45-degree angle. And just make that plenty far up there in the corner, like so. And then this is just kind of, these lines are kind of just double checking. Make sure everything's in line correctly. So this one comes straight over and straight down. If everything's done correctly, these straight lines should all line up just perfectly. Then, next, what you have to decide on this is determine what you're going to start with. So, on this drawing, this part's already started here. It has these two circles represented here in the top view. Looking down, it's represented by this rectangle in the front view. But there's nothing over here in the right side view that represents that. So real quick here, I'm going to show you a visual. Sorry on the recording. So as we just saw by the roll of the tape, the front and the right side view are exactly the same. So what you could do here is you could just copy this drawing over here to the side, but then none of your layout's going to be there. And kind of crazy on this one, I'm making you show the layout. So instead of just copying this over here, you've actually got to do the layout. So our layout's going to be this. You're going to start by laying out a line from this bottom line here, straight across to there, like so. You're going to trim it out there. I'm going to leave this little chunk of layout line there, so that way when I grade this, I know and I can see how those two lined up with each other. But now I'm going to change this line to a hidden line. And then next, now I have to get this part of it over there. Again, I could just copy this over there, change it to a hidden line, but you're not going to get credit for showing me how you did that. So that's not going to do you any good. So let's do the layout of this. Here, the layout was coming just straight down off this corner to there, or sorry, off that quadrant, straight down, and this quadrant straight down. They line up with each other. For this top view, you're going to transfer it over to this angle and then down. So you're going to draw a line from this bottom quadrant, straight over, and straight down to right there. From the top quadrant, straight over, and straight down to there. And then next, I need to know the height of it. The height is going to come from this rectangle here. So I'm going to come line from that corner straight over to there. And then I'm just going to trim it up. So to trim this up, I'm going to trim off those three portions of the line. Select that and put that in the hidden layer. So that's got the right side of this. If I've done it correctly, this part should match up exactly with that part right there, which it does. So that has it done correctly. So there's what the right side view of this looks like. From there, what I'm going to do next is this hole. So this hole also has to be shown in all three views. In the front view, it's pretty simple. This is going to be transferring down the right side of the quadrant of that circle and the left side of it, straight down. I'm going to trim off those two layout lines. I'm going to leave the lines up there, just so the layout's there. And I'm going to change those two lines to hidden lines. So that has that hole represented there. Once again, the hole's exactly the same over here. I could just copy over, but then none of my layout's going to be there. So instead of doing it that way, I'm going to transfer the top of the circle straight over to the 45-degree angle and straight down. I'm going to transfer over the bottom, straight over and straight down. Trim off those two and change those two to hidden lines. So now that has the hole shown in both the top, the front, and the right side view. It has that little cylinder shown in both the top, the front, and the right side views. Now the only really part of this drawing that's left are these holes that are right here. I mentioned the other day that those holes go through both sides of this object. So it goes through both sides of this all the way through the length of the object. So again on this one, all we're going to do is we're going to transfer across the bottom of the circle straight across. And the top of that circle straight across. And then trim these up. So trim out those two and trim out those two. And change those four pieces of the line to hidden line. So that's got that done. Now, I got to do almost the exact same thing up here in the top view. Now, here, it just happens to be that the side of that circle lined up exactly with that. That's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on top of there. Making double lines is typically a bad thing, but when it's on layout, it's not horrible. So I'm going to go here and here across like so. And let me pause it. Okay, so there I just transferred those two. Now I'm going to do again the same thing here from this quadrant straight up and straight over. And from that quadrant straight up to there and straight over to there. Now once again there I'm going to trim off. On this one I'm actually going to pick my trimming edges and I'm going to trim off those lines there and these here. Alright, so what that's done for me is I'm going to take these 8 lines that I trimmed off just there and put those 8 lines on the hidden layer. So that's got all the layout, or sorry, that's got all the hidden lines and all the object lines for this drawing done. The only thing that's left is to add in the center lines. So we have to show the center of the circles. Where it's the top view of the circle is usually where I show, and I say top view, where it's the view looking at the circular part of the circle. I usually do those first. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to start with this one that goes from that quadrant. Remember, it doesn't start right on the quadrant or right on the object line. It has to start somewhere in between. So I'm going to track it up to about this area and draw a line straight down, something like that. Come over to this quadrant, come over to about there, draw a line across there. So there's my 2 center lines for that one. I'm going to come over here and do my smaller ones. One about like that, and about like that. Very similar over here. There are those. Then I would select those 6 lines I just drew and change those lines to the center layer. Now, when you change them to the center layer, they don't look like center lines. They just look like normal lines out there. That's where I have to bring up my change property box. So I'm going to hit CH, bring up my change property box. And I always start out with, this is a line type scale of 1. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut it down to 0.5. When I cut that one down to 0.5, it made that one look really nice. That looked perfect, just the way I want it. Down here, however, these shorter lines did not change. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit escape to deselect them. Now I'm going to select just these 4. And I'm going to change those 4 down to a smaller line type scale. So again, it's at 0.5. I'm going to change it down to half of that. I'm going to change it down to 0.25. When I do that, it changed all those looking pretty good. Now, I tried to do this on purpose, and it looks like I didn't do a good job. Oh, come on. There we go. If your line is too short, notice this one. Some of my lines changed now, and this one did not. If that's the case, you can either change it down to a little bit smaller scale, or just change the length of your line to make it a little bit longer. So on this one, I meant to make this too short on purpose. I didn't. So there. On that one, I just stretched it out a little bit longer. Now it does look like a center line. The only other little tidbit with these center lines here is this is the one where I'm going to be kind of picky, where this is a nice little plus right there in the center of the circle. So this one, I want you to slide it down until it lines up there. And I'm going to highlight this other one, grab that middle point grip, and slide it over. So now those line up perfectly with the center of the circle, and it's a perfect little plus right there in the center. So if you didn't do that, make sure you get that now. Some of you, that may be the only thing you had to fix on there. And this one, I'm going to slide it just a hair down to there. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. Highlight both of those, slide that one over, and that one up. So right there with that, that looks great. Those center lines are awesome. But now, I need those center lines also shown in the other views. So for example, this one, the ones that go just straight down or straight to the side, I'm just going to use tracking. So this one, I'm going to just track it straight down and put it in from there to there. These I'm going to track straight over and put from there to there, as well as from there to there. However, on the other ones that in this view over here, this one, I'm going to have to track it over. So I'm going to draw my line over, not going to just track it all the way. And then I'll go ahead and track it down. I at least want you to draw that one line across, showing that you transfer this over. And then the same with these. I want you to at least transfer this up to there. Transfer that one up to there. And then you can track them to the side. I'll let you track one way, but I don't want you tracking both ways. It just gets too confusing for me when I'm trying to grade. So there, and All right, so that has all those in. Now, once again, we need to select all those. And put all those on the center layer. Now, these, on a center layer of a line type is set to 1, line type scale is set to 1, those are fine. These up above, however, are not, so I need to change the scale of these down a little bit. So I'm going to select those, and these, and I'm going to try those at 0.5, see what they look like. 0.5 wasn't quite enough, so I'm going to change those down to maybe 0.25. 0.25 looks good, puts a little dash in those. And those I'm not going to be picky with. Left to right, being perfectly centered in there. As long as you have them there, they're good. All I'm going to be really picky about are these little plus signs here. All right, with all of that done, this one's close. All of our lines are in place correct, but the only things we're left with this is the drawing's not centered up real well. So this space, and this space aren't equal, so I need to move things over. Now when I move this one, I'm going to move it like this with a crossing, and I'm going to slide this one straight to the side. Now what that does for me there is, it disconnected these lines here a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I can sight on these when I grade it, and I can see that these lined up with each other if you do slide it straight to the side, and I'll be fine with that. I'm going to go ahead and move these two over to the right just a little bit also. Something like that, I think you're pretty close, or I think I'm pretty close to where these three are pretty similar to each other. And then I think my gap in the middle is a little bit small, so I'm going to slide these two down just a tiny bit, and I'm going to slide these two up just a little bit. So there, I think my spacing's pretty good on this. I'm going to go ahead and turn my line weight on. So line weight's shown on there. All that looking pretty good. And then last but not least, to finish this one up, is go through your title block, make sure it's all good. It is called block 2, that's good. Scale is full or 1:1, either one of those two are fine. This one we are going to say is made out of wood. It varies, go ahead and put your 5th hour in this one for you guys, for whatever hour the rest of you are on, do that. The date, go ahead and put on today's date. And it's not created by first and last, it's created by your name in there, your first and last name in there. Then you're just going to center that up on the screen nicely. Save that drawing looking like that, and that is a beautiful looking drawing for one of our first 3D drawings. And then you can upload this to StudentView also. All right, that should be good.